Hi, I'm going to discuss today with you the AI Web Application Tutor that could be created and help to any person to to develop fluency in any foreign language. This demonstration will show all steps needed. There are just a few of them. And it's very also interesting that those steps, of course, could be turned into an application, a web application. And we'll start with the facts now. This web application has a synergy, which is ensured by merging three innovations. One, the unprecedented capability of generative AI to create personalized lessons in any foreign language and provide support in any native language. Two, the patented subconscious training in English skills is recommended as the main pedagogy of acquiring or developing fluency. Three, the self-learning revolution as a new paradigm of education for adults. To ensure subconscious training, adult learners should perform three actions simultaneously. To ensure subconscious training, adult learners should perform three actions simultaneously. Read the text, listen to the recording, and speak simultaneously. The AI Web Application Tutor should incorporate 5 drills to develop fluency in the target language, and we'll consider all those 5 drills in detail in a moment. Bill Gates recently stated that AI will eventually be as good a tutor as any human ever could. Our objective is to create such a tutor now. I've started this presentation by mentioning about the unprecedented capability of generative AI creating personalized lessons. And now I will share a screen with you showing how it is done. What you see on the screen now is a Microsoft Bing, and this is an AI-powered copilot for the web. This is artificial intelligence, one of the many such engines which exist now. And here I show you the query which I use to create the personalized lesson. The query is create 300 words reading story with images in English based on the famous novel Petite Prince for a beginner English learner. Then provide a translation of the story into French. So I have selected for demonstration a pair, target language English, native language French, and we'll demonstrate how everything is done, performed, and how the application could help adults to do it, to become fluent in English as a new language, starting from a very low level, that is starting as a beginner English learner. What you see here is the story created by Microsoft Bing. Here is the story. It is created in English, and that is the end of this story. Then, according to my query or my request, the translation of this story is given in French. So here is the text in French. And here even I asked to create some image, and you have the image of the little prince. However, although anybody can do it and create such lessons, there is not much you can do with them. That's why all of the other steps should be developed and added as an application. The first thing which we should do is to copy this text in English and put it into a application, a display, which then use this text. Now I'll show you a display where this text is already pasted. And here you see the display of this text. We have created an application, and this screen should be in our application, but for now we can use a well-known and free version of the application, which is called Natural Reader. What is important here is that the text, any text, could be brought inside of it. We can select here the special mode or play speed, which in this case I've selected 0.75, because for beginners we should very clearly
I'm not
pronounce.
sure.
Yes, it is from my phone. There are reasons to put it on the phone because, first of all, the application should look like a device application or web application, and it's also shows you here all the controls which are needed. And the most important now, I will demonstrate to you that any text can be played out with with near natural quality, human quality, and it can be used for simultaneous reading, listening, and repetition. I will only demonstrate now how it is played out. I would not use simultaneous listening and repeating, but just listen.
The Little Prince and the Fox. One day, the little prince left his small planet and traveled across the stars. He wanted to see new things and make new friends. He visited many planets, but he was not happy. He felt lonely.
Do you hear now? Do you hear the
Then
sound?
he came to
Yeah, I can hear.
He landed in a desert where there was nothing but sand and rocks. He walked for a long time, but he did not see anyone. He was very thirsty and hungry. He saw a flower on a hill. He thought it might have some water. He climbed the hill and approached the.
Now I will demonstrate how the subconscious training is done. That is, I have to read the text, listen to the play of it, and speak at the same time.
He climbed the
He
hill
climbed the
and
hill
approached
and
the flower.
approached the flower.
But the
But the
flower
flower
was not
was not
friendly.
friendly.
It
It
was
was
proud
proud
and
and
vain.
vain.
It
It
said,
said,
"Who
"Who
are
are
you?
you?
What do
What
you
do you
want
want
from
from
me?
me?
Go
Go
away.
away. I
I don't
don't
need
need
anyone."
anyone."
The
The
little
little
prince was
prince was
hurt by the
hurt by the
flower's
flower's
words.
words.
He said,
He said,
"I'm
"I'm
sorry.
sorry.
I
I
just
just
wanted
wanted
some
some
water
water."
and maybe a friend." The flower laughed. "A friend? You don't know what that means. You are too simple."
I stopped it, but here you see the first and main thing. How the lesson created, and of course, query can be anything. It's just one example and one pair of languages. Now, how the query could be put into the application and played out with a very high quality sound. How you can use subconscious training, which was never used before, for acquiring fluency in such a way that we really are uh, keeping in our objective in mind to create a tutor that is as good as any human ever could. Because this tutor can do much more than any teacher can do. Let's continue and now consider which 5 drills, most important drills, we have to develop in the application.
I just had a quick question. I don't know if
Yes.
you want me to ask questions. Um, but I was just wondering, so how would this technique work for students who aren't able to read the language yet?
First of all, it may work, but our objective is there are currently only in for English language we have 2 billion uh, learners in the world. Most of them can read, absolute majority, and we are thinking mostly about them. Although it can be also done for those who cannot read because the text could be done in, I will show you it later, in the native language, and it's not necessary to read it. You can just listen to it and imagine the situation. And then you start just looking at the screen and repeating. By the way, the sentences are so simple, like he said, "I'm sorry, the flower laughed," that after you hear how it is pronounced, you repeat it many times, you start actually learning how to read also. However, it's not our main objective. Our objective is to help those who can read, and more than that, there are 100 millions of English learners who learned English for many years, can read and write, but cannot speak because you cannot memorize. And the conventional methods teach you to memorize grammar rules, remember words, remember phrases. It's not possible. That's why we have to develop this application tutor that would be much better than any teacher can do. Actually, a teacher, he fulfills only the objective of coaching. He explains and answers questions. But the main learning is done by the adult himself or herself. Now, let's consider 5 drills. Drill 1. The display contains the text created by ChatGPT or Microsoft Bing in response to a query. It has play, pause, stop, and loop buttons. The play button turns on the natural reader software, reading any text with mere human quality allowed. That's what I've demonstrated to you now. In drill 1, listen to the recording in the native language. It means in French, right? With your eyes closed and visualize the story given. Focusing on one task, listening, helps quiet the mind and allows for greater mental activity, clarity, and visualization abilities. Do it a few times. If you need to see the original text, open your eyes. So we've discussed this Little Prince in English, but I have also this one, which is in French. So when we say drill 1, we have to listen to the recording of this drill. That is, the natural reader will read in French. We have to listen to it with closed eyes and visualize the story given.
So
You understand why you have to close your eyes, right?
in this example, is the native language French?
Correct. That's what I said at the beginning.
Okay.
The native language is French. The target language is English. And
Okay.
so
I just
in
wanted to
drill,
make sure.
yeah, and in drill 1, you familiarize with your text, with your lesson, by listening to in your native language. Do not read it. Sometimes maybe a customer may be not comfortable to do it with closed eyes. You can do it maybe with open eyes, but we highly recommend to do it with closed eyes, because when you close your eyes, you free about 60-70% of your brain power, which is used just for seeing, and you use that freed energy to visualize. That's why whatever you hear, you will visualize like in a video. So we click on the play button.
Le Petit Prince et le Renard. Un jour, le Petit Prince quitta sa petite planète et voyageait à travers les étoiles. Il voulait voir de nouvelles choses et ainsi faire de nouveaux amis. Il visitait de nombreuses planètes, mais il n'était pas heureux. Il se sentait seul et triste. Plus il arriva sur terre. Il atterrit dans un désert où il n'y avait rien que du sable et de roches. Il marqua longtemps, mais il n'y vit personne. Il avait très soif et très faim. Il vit une fleur sur un colline. Il pensa
So that is drill 1. When you create the images, which will help you when you will work with the target language, it will help you because you would see the situation, you will visualize it, and it will help you to make a direct wiring between new words and those images which you have in your mind.
I said the pronunciation here was pretty bad.
First of all, I just demonstrate and I use free version. Now, the paid version have much higher quality and French, and besides, here a pretty complicated situation that I demonstrated from smartphone on PC. And the sound you hear from my Alexa device, which I use as a Bluetooth, it's a pretty complicated 3 different devices are used to do it, so it's not very good quality.
Yeah.
And the paid version of a native reader will have much higher and selected quality or selected voice.
Yeah, no, the English was pretty good. It was just the pronunciation of the French
Yeah,
words.
French
I'm
is not very good. I agree, but the
sure there's a
purpose of it
better
is,
software that we can use.
yeah, that's what should be improved. Drill 2. The display contains the text created by ChatGPT in response to a query in a target language. So what we do now, we have to come back to the version in the target language. Okay, so here in drill 2, we listen to the recording in the target language and follow the text without pronouncing the words. Do it a few times. So imagine that you are a French adult who decided to learn English and you're a beginner, you do not know anything, you can only just hardly read in English without understanding much. So what you do, you just in drill 2, you listen to the recording in the target language, read the text, but do not pronounce it. You just follow. Click on this button and follow with your eyes how it reads it. Okay? Probably, I'm not sure if we would be able to do it. Now, I am showing how it should be done. So all the rest, I will just explain. So you understand what is drill 2 does. It just allows you to get acquainted with the text. And drill 3, read the text of the personalized lesson in the target language and highlight any unclear words by double clicking on it. So if you don't know the word happy, you double click on it, and at the bottom of it, the translation should appear of the whole sentence. He visited many planets, but he was not happy. We do not suggest to translate separate words because the words has to have many meanings. And if you translate only one sentence, then it would have only one meaning. And you understand the meaning of the word from the sentence. So whatever word is not clear to you, flower, click on it and you hear the whole sentence. He saw a flower on a hill. Just this way, you make all text lesson comprehensible, understandable. And then comes the most important drill 3. Read the text of the personalized lesson in the target language of the display where the translation of the sentence with the highlighted word is given in the native language. Thus, the created lesson becomes comprehensible, and you can move to the next drill. Drill 4. Read the text in the target language, listen to the reading software in an earphone, and speak simultaneously with it. The display has play, pause, stop, and loop button. It also has a slider controlling play speed. First, you may omit some words, but with each consecutive repetition, you will pronounce more words. do simultaneous repetitions until you can easily repeat all lesson words. Then add a few more simultaneous repetitions with your eyes closed. When you close your eyes and listen to natural reading software while speaking with it, your brain can allocate more energy toward imagining the scenario described in the lesson rather than using it for the physical seeing process. Closing the eyes helps to quiet the mind and allows for greater mental clarity and visualization abilities. That is the most important drill, and that drill allows any adult who follows this instruction to use what is called simultaneous repetition or subconscious training. Drill 5. Click the record button and read aloud the lesson text in the target language without listening to the natural reader. The display has record, pause, and stop buttons. The record button starts recording the voice and the text from the word on which a cursor is located. Click on the play button and listen to your recording. If you are satisfied with the recording, you continue creating and working on new personalized lessons. You can also click the share button to send the recording to your family, friends, or teachers. If unsatisfied, click the record button again and repeat the recording. Those are all 5 drills which should be developed and included in our AI Web Application Tutor. And you see that all those steps, there are not too many of them, could be easily brought into an application, and all steps could be performed automatically, helping you to do the drills, to learn and to change and select personalized lessons. And all lessons will be recorded, and you can always come back to them or use in your lesson. That's all what I wanted to share with you. Now, do you have any questions? The main actually application display should first allow through API to do the query, to create the lessons, then copy and paste them. Then copy and pasting the lessons is done in something which looks like native reader, something like that, and which allows you to read it in any language of the learner's choice. And all other actions like repeat, pause, start from any place, and then highlighting and translating, all those steps could be easily incorporated as a software program, as a web application. And you understand that all those 3 steps or 3 technologies used here: AI, simultaneous repetition or subconscious training, and self-learning. It's very important that it is self-learning. You should not, and because you have so great options to change query, to do or to ask questions, you can do it yourself. You don't need a teacher because the application can do what no teacher can: to create lessons for you, to provide text and recording of any text in any language. And that's why we need to create it as soon as possible and to give it to 2 billion learners in the world who try to become fluent in the global language, English.
Yeah. So will it usually be some kind of story that they're gonna create with the query, or is it pretty open-ended to whatever they want?
It's a good question. It is pretty open-ended because query in the help, we should give a few examples of query. It could be anything. Tell me Japanese bed stories, or tell me the history of Portugal, whatever. You're not limited to anything. However, there is also another great opportunity because there are some learners who can read and or have intermediate level, so they are not fluent, but they can speak in
Mhm.
English. For them, it would be probably even more interesting if they would create lessons in their profession. And so they will grow professionally and at the same time develop fluency. Fluency is the ability to speak automatically. Without doing 3 actions at the same time, you cannot develop fluency. It's not possible. And why all the adults who learned English for years are not capable to do it? We know that some of them learned. There are millions. Keep in mind, because you will be asked this question. There are
Mhm.
millions of people who learn English and speak fluently and well, excellent. But there are hundreds of millions who failed. So our objective is to help those who failed and those who learned through tremendous efforts, spending thousands and thousands of dollars and years. We need to create an environment to become fluent in the target language in less than a year. So that is our objective, and you are unlimited in options and possibilities.
Yeah.
There's even extension of this program. For example, at the end, when you already become fluent, we can add what I call fluency testing. When you will see a randomly selected word on the screen, and you have to create a few sentences, and then a new word will appear, and then new word, etc., etc. And what we do, we record all those sentences and calculate the speed with which the learner speaks. If he speaks with the speed of 60 words per minute, it means that he is not fluent. To speak fluently, he has to produce 2 or 3 words per second. So we can actually, and that is the ultimate project, objective, not only to develop fluency, but also to test fluency in the same application.